then.
You're number 2.
Okay. Just don't give me extra.
Okay.
I'm teasing you.
You're getting extra.
I'm getting extra? Okay.
Yes,
We're ready, Peg?
Mr.
we're
D.
ready.
How are you, sir?
Hold up.
Ain't good. I saw you the other night again.
It's 1 minute out.
Carlito's what?
All right, I'll call this Township Council meeting of December 13, 2011 to order at 7:30 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board at the Municipal Building on December 15, 2010, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in both the Daily Record and the Star Ledger and was forwarded by fax to other local newspapers and local radio stations on December 16, 2010. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 2 p.m. on Sundays, and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carriffy?
Here.
Mr. Cesaro?
Here.
Mr. Stanton?
Here.
Council President DePiero?
Here. Also present are Mayor Barbario, Jasmine Lim, our Business Administrator, John Inglesino, our Township Attorney, and Peggy Mader, sitting in for the Township Clerk. Would you all join me in the flag salute?
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, note upcoming meetings, January 1st, 2012 at noon, our inauguration. January 3rd, 2012 at 7:30 p.m., the Township Council's reorganization meeting and agenda meeting, public invited with public participation. And now we'll move to the mayor's presentations.
You want a different microphone? You want a microphone you can hold? All right. Let me know.
Good evening, everybody. That's good, very good. Very formal, I like that. Tonight we're going to be presenting certificates to those that helped out during the Hurricane Irene. That night, I got to tell you something, that night matured me as a man, and more than anyone can ever imagine. But it matured me in many ways, but it also matured me to say I'm proud. I'm so proud to be the mayor of such wonderful people, volunteers, township workers, nonprofit organizations, businesses in town, and go on and on. Believe me, I'll tell you from the bottom of my heart, for all you've done for Parsippany, for the flood victims, I can't say enough. So I feel this is the best way I can show my gratitude. I'll be giving some awards out tonight, and I want to thank you. And I might be making some of the comments in between there because, you know, each individual has a place in my heart. I'm going to start with Sean Turney. He's from the Fernie, I'm sorry. I guess I'm right. I think there was a boxer by that name. He's the general manager of the Sheridan, and I have a proclamation from the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills. You got to bear with me, I can't find my glasses. The Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills proclamation. Whereas the Sheridan Parsippany Hotel has been a mainstay in the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills since 1987 and has demonstrated a corporate social responsibility for giving back to the community it serves. And whereas the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills gratefully acknowledges the efforts and support of the Sheridan Parsippany Hotel for their unwavering commitment to the community. And whereas the compassion of the Sheridan Parsippany Hotel is duly noted by the generous donation of hotel furniture for those devastated victims of Hurricane Irene who lost everything. And whereas the Sheraton Parsippany has touched and enhanced the citizens of Parsippany-Troy Hills with their random acts of kindness and corporate good neighbor policy. Now therefore, I, James R. Barbario, Mayor of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, do hereby recognize and acknowledge the benevolent contribution made by the Sheraton Parsippany Hotel and commend them on their generosity and mobilization in the wake of a disaster. Dated this 13th day of December 2011. Sean, thank you so much. Not only that, Sean also put residents up that got hit with a snowstorm. We lost power. He was the only hotel to take pets. So,
I'm a pet lover.
right, I want to thank you for all you've done for Parsippany.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm very humbled. Honestly, it's on behalf of the entire team at the Sheraton Parsippany. It's about giving back to the community. It's one of our pillars of our organization, and I'm just very honored to receive this on their behalf.
Well, I'm honored to be in your presence. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to call up Kiwanis, Club of Greater Parsippany. That's it. Hello, President. Bob, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Before I read this certificate, I want to tell you, Kiwanis was instrumental in the gift cards that a lot of the residents in downtown received. I got to tell you, and I'm going to get to it later on at the end of the night on that, but you guys came to my office. You wanted to know what could we do for the residents, and you know, it's hard for me to say, but I want to thank you so much. This is an ongoing process, and that's why it can get very emotional. But you guys, right away, you knocked on the door. No ifs, ands, or buts. May, what can we do to help out the community? What can we do to help out the residents? Because you know what? It's your people as well as mine. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Chief. Lou. Steve. I have to shake everybody's hand. I can't help it. That's it. I know the council's probably like, calm down, Mayor. Bobby. Michelle, thank you so much. And I'm going to read the certificate. And pretty much they all say the same thing, so. The Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills Outstanding Achievement Award presented to the Kiwanis Club of Greater Parsippany in recognition of your outstanding efforts and support assisting the victims of Hurricane Irene and for your unwavering commitment to the community. So note what I'm going to say to you later on. Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you, Michelle. This next award goes to the Parsippany-Troy Hills Police Department. Chief DeZenzo. I'm not going to read them over and over again because I say the same exact thing. But Chief, on behalf of the Township and Parsippany-Troy Hills and myself as Mayor, I got to tell you something. That night, I pretty much lived with the Chief that whole weekend. And he picked me up at midnight during the storm. We drove around town, did some assessing. And we kind of knew something bad was going to happen. Because about 2:30 in the morning, we drove by Veterans Memorial Park, and it was 2 feet underwater. So we stayed in contact the whole time. We went down to the Lake Hiawatha, the wall. We were there firsthand when it was coming up. But let me tell you something. There was no better person to be in charge that night than the Chief DeZenzo. And the police department did a wonderful job. You made a commitment to me. You made a commitment to the residents of Parsippany-Troy Hills. Not only that, the aftermath, they were down there constantly, going on each road to make the residents feel safe. Chief, I want to thank you on behalf of the Township Council and myself. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Office of Emergency Management. Eric Hubner. Here you go, Eric. Eric, great job. Again, I was pretty much attached to the hip with him, so I got 2 hips, so I'm doing pretty good. When we did the declared state of emergency in the town, Eric was instrumental in getting things all together. Him and the chief worked hand in hand. And I have to tell you, we got things rolling pretty well. It was a well-oiled machine. I've never seen anything like it, and I don't want to see anything like it again. But you were just phenomenal that night. Posted the command center. We had a command center there. We were in constant contact, and that's what's important when you have a situation like Parsippany-Troy Hills had that day. I want to thank you and your team. So you might as well stay here. CERT. Come on, let's go, Nora. There you go, Nora. CERT, again, these are volunteers in the town. They did an outstanding job that night. I tell you, I got to know everybody just from this one event on a one-to-one basis, and you guys did a great job. I want to thank you so much. Thank you. Mount Tabor Fire District, Department District 1. Is anybody here from Mount Tabor? Okay, well, we'll take care of that later on. Rainbow Lakes Fire Company District 2. It's all right. Okay.
It's 1 and 2.
I hope they just can't make it. There's no fire. Lake Parsippany Fire Company District 3. Tom, thank you so much. I have to tell you something. The district fire departments that we have in town are outstanding. We've been blessed. We've been blessed with individuals like you, sir. And I mean that. You guys have done a fantastic job. Again, during the whole course of the town, I went to each fire district, and they were out there 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lake Hiawatha Fire District 4. Rick Edberg. Well, I have to tell you right now, Rick was pretty much in charge of the whole area at that time, at District 4, because that's his district, the Lake Hiawatha District. I would go into a foxhole with you any day. I mean that. You did an outstanding job. Your whole crew, the whole entire district. I mean, you have to understand something. I know people don't realize this. The emotions are so high. And when your emotions get going, your adrenaline drives, and you hope you do the right thing. Well, let me tell you, they did the right thing. You had to see it. But we were in this together, all of us. Rick, you were magnificent that night, that whole week. I mean, there's a lot afterwards. Your whole entire fire district was just phenomenal. I want to thank you.
That was outstanding that week.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Parsippany-Troy Hills Volunteer Fire Department District Number 5. Dave, great job, Dave. I have to tell you something. District 5 was down there pulling people out of the water. Amazing that night. You guys did such a great job. Of course, Dave was just like me. We were all like our heads cut off, but amazing. I tell you, and you can't imagine the time of need, how each individual becomes their own individual, but yet work as a team. And Dave was one of those individuals. The whole fire district worked with District 4, worked with Rescue and Recovery. It was magnificent that night. I'm going to keep saying magnificent because that's exactly what it was. Thank you, Mr. Cavalier. You may have the microphone. But I got to be careful because his mother told me that he swallowed the phonograph needle.
Never met a microphone I didn't like. That's right. I'd just like to say to everybody, I don't want to make the mayor look bad, but it's amazing though that night that this is the most important thing of that night, and it's never really been said. There was absolutely no injury or death to any emergency service personnel or citizen. That's huge. That night I was actually working as a police officer, and I was detailed mainly to Chief DeZenzo and to Mayor Barbario. The Parsippany District 5 Fire Department, the biggest thank you goes to my Captain Ken Lambert and my Assistant Chief Robert Campbell Jr. They worked with Rick Egbert and Lake Hiawatha Fire Department and Rescue and Recovery, and I helped coordinate all that, but I don't get any of the thanks that night. As my job as a police officer, yes, but not so much with the rescue efforts as Captain Ken Lambert and Chief Robert Campbell Jr. Again, I emphasize, and because of the Chief of Police, because of the Mayor, and because of all the men and women behind you, no death or injury. So I think that's huge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Parsippany-Troy Hills Fire Association, District Number 6. Okay. Rockaway Neck First Aid Squad. Danny Weber. Now, we don't need to have a siren when we have Danny's mouth. But I want to tell you, Danny, you guys did a wonderful job that night. This is a fantastic job. It was like I said, teamwork. And Danny and I, if you don't know Danny and I, we don't always agree. Am I right, Danny? People. But at the end of the day, we always shake hands. Danny, you did a great job. Your whole team did a great job that night. Thank you so much. Parsippany Volunteer Ambulance Squad. Thank you so much. Again, the Parsippany Ambulance Volunteer Squad, phenomenal. It was just great. You guys were magnificent that night, and I want to say something else. I know, don't get emotional. You get me all emotional now. I'm trying to calm myself down. But I want to thank you and your whole entire crew. You know what? People in need, you guys were there for them. Thank you so much. Thank you. Parsippany Rescue and Recovery Unit. Franco, how are you? The Parsippany Rescue and Recovery Unit, I have to tell you, I was pretty much also attached at their hip, because if I didn't, they would have ran me over. But you guys pulled a lot of people out of the water that night, and I forget how many it was total, 433, something like that, residents. The team effort that I saw that night with you, District 5, all the districts, all the ambulance, again, Franco, I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Thank you. I know you are. This gentleman, oh God, what a good man. Reverend Donald Bragg. Let me tell you something about the Reverend. If I get emotional, I have to apologize. We had a family on Lakeshore Drive, and she was about to give birth, like in 2 weeks, living out of her car. I tried to convince her to go to a hotel somewhere. I had nowhere to go. I figured, now let me go get my wife, because maybe a woman's voice would be better, and she still wouldn't listen. I had nowhere to turn at that moment, so I called the Reverend. Not only did the Reverend come through, he came through for that family. And Reverend, they love you, let me tell you right now. And I want to thank you for that day. Not just that day, for everything else that you've done. You've been instrumental. He's been in constant contact with me. Reverend, I'm so honored. I was converted because of you. The Rotary Club of Parsippany-Troy Hills. Again, the Rotary Club, all the clubs that I'm going to, when I get done, mention them all. once again, they came as a team, a tandem, and they came to my office. And what they did was, they set up a volunteer spaghetti dinner. Not only did they do that, which was really very grateful, they, again, most of the food cards that we received, that our human services received, were from these organizations like the Rotary. I have to tell you, we have some great organizations in town, and Rotary is one of them. Peggy, thank you for all you do for the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills. The Women's Club of Parsippany-Troy Hills. Don't be shy. I'll come on you. Anyway, the Women's Club also partnered with Rotary, partnered with Kiwanis, and partnered with the Sons of Italy. Kathy Serbo, myself, Michelle Generick, Joe Janarone, and Peggy Mater had meetings almost weekly on seeing what we could do for the residents of Parsippany-Troy Hills. They were constantly in contact with me. What else do you need, Mater? What else? Kathy, I want to thank you. I want to thank all of you. Also, I have to tell you, I also want to thank your father, Nick Serbo. I don't know if he belongs to the Women's Club, but if he is, I want to thank you for all your efforts. But anyway, that being said, thank you for being an organization in the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills. I really appreciate it and all you do. Thank you. Parsippany Sons of Italy Lodge 2561. All the members in the back. Once again, now to the last group, I can say, Sons of Italy and Women's Club and Kiwanis and Rotary, they were pretty much attached at the hip. We would have the meetings, and they would decide what would go forward. And I have to tell you, when I went down to Lower Lake Hiawatha, they weren't even called gift cards anymore. They were called Kiwanis cards, Sons of Italy cards, Women's Clubs cards, or Rotary. The residents truly do appreciate all you've done for them. And you know, being a member of Sons of Italy, I'm proud. I'm proud to serve as your mayor, Joe. All of your mayors. Thank you. Barbara Iavoli and Human Services. I'll tell you, Human Services in this town is the best in Morris County, best in the state. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we have someone like Barbara Iavoli and her crew. I was in contact that night with Barbara Iavoli, and I have to tell you, I was an emotional wreck. And she pulled me through that night. I want to thank you for that, Barbara, because that was a rough night. But not only that, she's been there for every resident in need, be it a flood or not. She's always there, and our human services are fantastic. I want to thank you, all you do for Parsippany-Troy Hills. Carlo DeLizia from our health office. The health office did a fantastic job that night. But that being said, I met Carlo DeLizia last year, and I got to see him in action this year. Carlo, you were just totally amazing. If I needed to know something about FEMA, anything you could imagine, I'd go to him. Somehow he knew all the answers, and I would take him with me, and any resident to their houses to talk to them. And Carlo always comforted them, made them feel better, made them feel like, okay, something's happening here. And he hasn't stopped. And I'm sure your mom and dad are proud. There you go. But Carlo, I want to thank you. What a fantastic job you've done for the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills. Mike Kennedy former captain of Parsippany-Troy Hills. Now, Mike Kennedy was very instrumental that night. He lent us what kind of truck was that again?
A deuce and a half.
Yes, it was I felt like, actually, here you go, you got to hold that. I felt like I was watching the movie Outbreak. This truck was huge, but it rescued. I want to thank you, first of all. Rescue and Recovery wants me to buy one now because of you. But that's okay. I actually think it's a good idea. That truck was amazing that night, taking our residents out. But what I mean by the movie Outbreak, and this is where it gets emotional, I mean, they carried so many residents in there with their animals and their pets. Without that truck and all the trucks that we do have in town, thank God we have those resources. But one more resource, Mike, I want to thank you. I want to thank you very much. Thank you. Is Joe O'Donnell here? You can give that to Joe. Okay. Loretta Gragnani. Fantastic job, Loretta. Loretta was nonstop at Landmark Forest. She nonstop. I went up there to visit them, and I got yelled out. They told me, get back down there. We'll take care of this part. That's why I have to. Annie's next, so I'm a little nervous, as you know. But anyway, Loretta has been was instrumental, and she still is. She does everything that she possibly can. I have to tell you something. You were one heck of a volunteer, but you do it from your heart. It's in your eyes, and I can see it. And I thank you so much for what you've done for our residents. Thank you, Loretta. Annie Erdman. Now, this little lady, she throws a little fear into me. She yelled at me almost every time. She yelled at me when she walked in. But anyway, Annie Erdman, again, working with Landmark Florists, was very instrumental down there. And I'm going to get to that part last. Annie, thank you so very much. I'm going to tell you a little story about her husband. I have to do this. He's not here to defend himself, but that's okay. He's about this high. And I'm speaking at a Boy Scout Gold Award. And they had a podium this big. And I have my papers in hand. I'm like, oh, my God, this podium's so short. I get done speaking. He comes up. He says, Mayor, that's just fine height for me. Remember? But, Annie, thank you so much. Thank you. Mwah. These individuals here in the town, Landmark Florists, Terry and Adam Checky, I want to tell you something. You guys are outstanding. Come on up. Outstanding. Let me tell you, they continue to do. I can totally. What energy Adam and Terry have? You have to come over here, though. I can't keep walking around. They were just amazing how they got everything together. I remember they called us up here in town hall. Listen, we're going to open up Landmark Florist, and I think they never expected it to be as big as it was. They figured they'd get maybe a few clothing items. Well, it turned into a lot more. And let me tell you, they supplied Lower Lake Hiawatha like you couldn't imagine. What an effort. What a team. But you know what? I spoke to Adam on several times. Adam and Terry, you know it's from your heart. And they don't stop. They help deliver the furniture that the Sheraton gave to the residents in Parsippany-Troy Hills. They continue to go. And you don't stop. And not only that, a lot of people don't know this. They were very instrumental. They called up Barbara Iavoli, and they worked as a team because there's residents down there and children down there that aren't going to have a Christmas. Well, they're going to have one now because of Terry, Adam, and Barbara. I want to thank you for that. I read what you've done. It was emailed to me today. How do you do it? I can't imagine. But I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I want to say this.
Your hearts to us.
Right. I want to say this. And this is God's honest truth. Friends don't happen by chance. They're a gift from God. And all of you in this room, you as well, Terry, Adam, you're a gift from God. Parsippany got you guys just in time. Thank you so much. Town Council, I want to thank you also. I know you guys are very instrumental as well. That being said,
So where's our certificates?
huh? You're not getting one now. No. And also, in closing, I want to say, listen, and I mean this, I'm honored. I've been blessed to serve not just the residents of Parsippany-Troy Hills, but to serve all of you that helped out during the flood. I'm proud. I keep my head high. Nobody can bring me down. Sometimes there's negative things said about what happened. Do you know what? You can't bring me down. Why? Because I look what's behind me, the team that I have, that the town has. I'm blessed, like I said. Thank you very much. God bless you, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you guys for
Thank you, Mayor, and on
Thank
behalf
you.
of the Township Council, thank you, all the volunteers,
all the
all the
volunteers,
workers.
private volunteers, not-for-profit volunteers. Thank you.
Now we'll return to our usual 10.
You're all welcome to stay, but if you want to leave, we won't be insulted.
Believe me. Have a good night. Merry Christmas.
Do we have a, Mayor,
Yes,
do we have an Alpha Dog presentation tonight?
he's not here. We'll do it in January.
All right, so he's not here, okay.
Yes.
Thanks, brother.
Counselor? Hey, how are you, sir? Hello, young lady. I really can't say my favorite.
Look at this guy.
Thursday night, but I didn't want to.
You can sign in all you want.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, man? You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
I don't see her. She's not here.
Okay, bids to be taken.
All right, Paul,
I pressed the button.
Paul, you're going to do number one.
You're doing number one, brother. Read the whole thing.
John, you're doing number two.
Yes, sir.
Vinnie, you're doing number three.
Yeah.
Ryan's doing the consent agenda,
Okay.
and then we're up to Mr. Karifi to do the two add-ons.
Hold on, let me find the add-ons.
That's right at the end.
Who's doing the add-ons?
Well,
I think they're in the back, the last
Yeah.
two resolutions.
the back of the agenda.
Okay.
Do you have the add-ons? You
I'll come up.
guys have them?
They're there.
Where are they?
Right here.
Yes, you do.
It's just a motion. Don't worry about it.
These two.
They're right there. And just
Make the motion.
go to the last page. Go to page
Jasper,
before that.
just for, the add-ons are just we're making motions to, correct?
Well, you have to read the resolution.
The resolution that accompanies it. Okay.
We have them.
We have them. We have them. Uh-huh.
Find them?
I'll find you. Worry about reading. I'll find it.
Okay, so we're doing ordinances for second reading, 2011:25, Mr. Karifi.
Okay, ordinance number 2011:25. The foregoing ordinance was published in its entirety in the Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, on December 2nd, 2011. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition by purchase of the property identified as Block 734, Lot Number 4 on the tax map of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills and commonly known as 460 South Beverick Road for open space. Be read in its title only on second reading and a hearing held thereon.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Karifi, second by Mr. Cicero. Roll call, please.
When you open it,
Oh, all right, we'll do the roll call after.
Roll call first.
We'll do the roll call after the public portion. I'll open the meeting to the public on this ordinance only.
Here you go. Did he say you do both of them? Okay.
Wait till the mayor sits down.
Yes.
No. It's just done this ordinance. Hi, Roy Messmer, 10 Drumlin Drive. Just real quick with this piece of property. I know it was about, Mayor Letts was mayor when this council, whoever's up here at the time, I don't know if you were here, Mayor, as a councilman or not, I can't remember that much. With the sheep farm. I just noticed the other day that we're finally doing something with that house. I saw some renovation going on. I just happened to drive by and I saw we're doing a renovation. Okay. What I'd like to know tonight, because I'm not totally for buying this house, first of all, but I'm not a vote. What's our plans for this house? You're on the open space, right, Mr. DePiero?
Yes,
Did you answer it, please?
I could answer if you want.
Yep.
Okay, well, the garage in that property is going to be used by the EMT squad, so they have a place to shelter for their ambulances. The home is going to be used for meeting rooms, and there is some discussion that possibly the Chamber of Commerce could move into that facility also.
That house is about 200 years old, right?
Approximately, it's 200 years old.
Yeah.
1800, I think.
I mean, we have to comply with all the new building codes, handicap, right?
Handicap accessible, yes.
Right. Bathrooms, everything else. The reason why, Council President, a concern of mine, because I know you've sat on the open space for many years, like I said, it was just a week or two ago. I happened to drive by, we call it the sheep farm. We still do in this town. That house was just being renovated. And that's many years, Mike. You were sitting up here, I think you were on council when that happened.
Yeah, I was not happy to see that house vacant for so long.
Okay, well, that's why I'm standing here now. I didn't expect to even be talking about this tonight.
But look, if I can, Roy, the house does not even need to be renovated. It's been renovated already. Has a new oil burner, new roof from 2005, 2006.
Okay.
The house is in immaculate shape.
Okay.
It's not only going to be, it's going to be used for historical purposes as well. We're going to have events in it. We're going to have, hopefully I can work a deal out with the Civil War, that organization.
Right.
We're going to reach out to all the historical organizations in town, and in the county and the state as well. That house has been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a landmark, and you watch, that house is going to be used.
I tell you, you know how I feel about Mazda Brook and Forge Pond and all those developments.
Right.
I mean, anybody that's got to come in for a variance to put on a deck, I mean, that's pretty bad, but that's not the point. If somebody behind me has never been there and you come down, I'm sure most people have, but you drive down Beverwick and you hit that bridge where you pass the Cameron House, you get emotional. A tingle goes through. I know Joe Generone Jr., I think, left. He's not behind me. But you all know what I think about the Forge Pond. And nothing's been done. I mean, that area right there, it does. It gives you a tingle.
Right.
And I'm not trying to get emotional and use your word tonight, but you do. You get emotional. And, this is my problem in this town with this open space money. You take the Japanese house. We call it the Japanese garden. We never advertise it. My wife and I have never even been there. Because I know where it is, but the people are still living there.
What Japanese house
Well,
are you talking about?
Watnong.
Gardens?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But
I
Roy,
call-
It's not a Japanese.
I don't want to use
No, I
Roy's
said
time
Japanese garden,
But
Mike.
to
I
be
said
totally
They
Japanese
have
honest,
exotic plants, yes.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, but that house, is that still occupied by the family?
We're going
Still have
it
it
is,
living?
and we're going to have. We've had discussions with the environmental committee. We're going to get that place active.
Can I just
the
interrupt you?
Japanese house?
We're on this
Japanese
ordinance,
garden house?
we're on this ordinance only right now.
Oh, no,
Oh, I'm
but my
sorry.
point
Okay.
is, Mike, we buy these properties,
You're right.
you sit on the open space, and then we do nothing with them. Like I said, Japanese garden house, I've never been in it. Nobody's ever come up here and given a presentation. We bought, I don't know how much money that was. Now, Anita Baldwin doesn't have life tenancy, right, in this house?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Roy.
Jasmine? Just real quick, because I know I asked a few weeks ago, just want to make sure. This is coming out of the historical preservation portion of the open space fund, right?
No, it's coming out of the open space portion.
Okay, but it's coming out of the open space fund?
Yes.
No tax
Yes.
increase?
Yes.
It's already being collected, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Just a quick question.
Or,
For this.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. You'll look at me and say a quick question.
Well, we had appraisals and everything, right? You have to do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you really appraise for that much, huh? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I see no one come forward. I close the public portion. Continue, please.
Whereas the above ordinance was read in title on second reading and a hearing held thereon. Now therefore be it resolved that the said ordinance be passed on final reading and that a notice of final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law.
Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Stan's got it.
All right, motion by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. Stanton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cicero?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton? Yes. Council President DePiero?
Yes. Mr. Cicero.
December 13, 2011, ordinance number 2011:26. The foregoing ordinance was published in its entirety in the Daily Record, the official newspaper of Township Parsippany-Troy Hills, on December 2nd, 2011. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Section 285-4, Schedule A, no parking zones of Article 1 of Chapter 285 Parking of the Code of Township Parsippany-Troy Hills to establish fire zones and regulate parking at 77 East Halsey Road, LLC, 77 East Halsey Road, Block 740, Lot 2, be read in title only on second reading and a hearing held thereon.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh, sorry.
Motion by Mr. Cicero,
Anyone.
second by Mr. Ferrero. I'll open this meeting to the public on this ordinance only. Seeing no one come forward, I close the public portion.
Whereas the above ordinance is read in title on second reading and hearing held thereon, now therefore be resolved that said ordinance be passed on final reading and that a notice of final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cicero?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Council President DePiero?
Yes. Mr. Ferrero.
Ordinance number 2011:27. The foregoing ordinance was published in its entirety to the Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, on December 2nd, 2011. Be resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance amending Section 285-4, Schedule 8, no parking fire zone of Article 1 of Chapter 285, parking of the Code of the Township Parsippany-Troy Hills to establish fire zones and regular parking at, Aria International, 1571 Route 46, Block 726, Lot 1, be read in title only on second reading and hearing held thereon.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ferrera, second by Mr. Cicero. I'll open this portion of the meeting to the public on this ordinance only.
Another quick question. These buildings have been up for a while. Is anybody doing anything else with them? And we have the buildings there, we're going to put all these nice are they being used?
Well,
Are they?
they're paying taxes, people own the building, and
But
the
they're standing
occupancy-
empty. And
Well,
does it?
that's the owner's issue.
That's
to
it?
Fill it with tenants, not ours.
Okay.
Anyone else from the public? Seeing no one come forward, close the public portion.
Whereas the above ordinance was read in title on second reading and hearing held thereon, now therefore be resolved that said ordinance be passed on final reading and that a notice of the final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cicero?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Council President DePiero?
Yes. I'll open this portion of the meeting to the public on any matter whatsoever. Come in, sign in, state your name and address. You have 5 minutes to speak.
Tom Wyke at One Bennett Court. A friend of mine said to me just after the election, George Will once said, some people run for office to be somebody while others run for office to do something. You know, I've always considered myself one of the latter, despite what some people think, and given Mr. Cicero has offhandedly drafted me for the council race in 2013, I wanted to be clear on exactly why I run for office. So I'm going to propose an interesting challenge to prove that. Here's the deal. I will not run for municipal office in 2013, provided the following. You reverse your ordinance change to the Transparency Committee, which was obviously nothing but a blatant backhanded way of ousting myself and Ms. Catanzaro. Membership will revert back to the length specified in the originally passed ordinance so that truly committed members can serve for the length of time it actually takes to fulfill the spirit of the ordinance. Furthermore, reappoint myself and Ms. Catanzaro so we can actually get something done. Number two, as soon as practical, we initiate an RFP for website and general online services for the town so that Alpha Dog Solutions can compete for our continued business rather than continue the no-bid, void of any consultation basis that started this relationship. Number three, our former mayors, Luther and Letts, made a point of selecting folks of all political stripes for committees. I'll cite Michael Clark, another lame duck appointment that Mayor Luther, as an example, made. Since I've lost faith that that will happen going forward, as a gesture to bipartisanship, I'd like an ordinance, if legally possible, or resolution failing that ensures or endorses that no less than 20% of the membership of any committee in town be populated by someone bearing a written endorsement by the party chair of either major party at the time of appointment. Just 20% to achieve balance, regardless of who's in power. Lastly, any elected official that sits on this dais intending to run or serve through 2013 and who was also responsible for the December 2008 decision to award the highest bid insurance policy to Morris County JIF Insurance Fund, wasting hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars, I'd like you to issue a simple public apology to the taxpayers of the town. You see, none of this addresses anything that you might do in the next 2 years, which is a great risk I'm taking. But the offer still stands. I will not run in 2013 if these things happen, which is a mere fraction of what I'd like to accomplish. Lastly, I want to wish you all a good holiday, one human being to another. I know a few of you folks don't like me personally. It doesn't help that I'm not as good as exchanging pleasantries with people such as Roy, but there's a reason for that, because I stand before you, as I've done many times, and I know it's a humbling experience. I can see why ordinary people find it hard to step up here and express a grievance alone at the mic, but we will be heard regardless. I simply stand before you as someone that wants to leave the community a better place by the time God calls my number. And after all I've been through at the hands of this council in that simple pursuit and all the obstacles you've thrown out and the personal sacrifice I made to overcome them, it is tough to exchange pleasantries sometimes. I know you generally think I come here to embarrass you, but I suspect that there barely be any hard feelings at all, if you really had nothing to be embarrassed about. I can't embarrass you without your assistance. But am I supposed to overlook insensitive comments and bad decisions, Mr. Cicero, because we were friends once and we attend the same church on Sunday? Am I supposed to accept that I'm not allowed on a committee because of my party registration, even regardless of that friendship? Am I supposed to stand in deference, Mr. DiPiero, to your many years of service, when I see you inexplicably side with disingenuous votes to exclude me from community service and even exclude others who in the past you seemingly appreciated their character and work ethic? Or excuse even more egregious decisions done in concert or at the behest of folks who appear to have much less integrity than yourself? And believe me, out of respect for everyone I know that respects you, I cling to the faith that you're better than that, despite the many times you demonstrate otherwise. Am I supposed to excuse all the same, Mayor Barbario, because we used to be able to manage a hearty handshake between us, and we discovered that we're both diehard, faithful Giants fans who I'm glad to say are back playing to their potential as of the other night? Can't we all just let it slide and be friends? Where does that leave the community? In a word, no, I can't. There's way too many examples around us of bad things that happen when folks look the other way. Again, question my motivation all you want, folks. I'll let my actions, words, and deeds speak for themselves. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and all of your families. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Pat Patacci, 182 Hawkins Avenue. I would just like to bring it to the attention of the townspeople. Hopefully, people will be made aware that at the Board of Ed meeting on Thursday night, we will be discussing the Field of Dreams, which is the turfing of the fields. I'd just like to remind everybody also that a month or more ago, I had suggested we try using open space to help these people out. And it's been done in the past. People in Lake Hiawatha, open space has been used in the past. But I will tell you now that Anthony Bucco has a bill passed the Assembly in regards to open space money to helping flooding victims. And I hope you guys give that great consideration, okay? Because I think our neighbors are more important than a turf field. That's my belief. I truly believe it. And I would like to see these people get some help. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
May I respond?
Mayor?
Yeah, just so you know. Ms. Pataccio, or Pat, I'll call you Pat, I'm sorry, Miss. I know, really. The open space money, from what I understand now, can be used. If I'm incorrect, Attorney, please let me know.
Open space money can certainly be used to purchase property to preserve as open space.
Right.
And I can't see any reason why, if there was a piece of property that the town wanted to purchase for flood mitigation purposes, there has to be a public purpose. You can't just take public money and give it to somebody to help them out. There has to be a public purpose for public money to be expended. So if the town wanted to acquire properties for purposes of flood mitigation purposes, I don't see any reason why open space monies couldn't be used for that purpose now. I'm not familiar with the Assemblyman's bill. Perhaps it just adds specificity in that regard, but I know there are other municipalities in the state of New Jersey who have utilized open space trust fund money for that purpose. But again, I do want to emphasize that the money just can't be used, to help individual people out. There has to be a public purpose
No,
for
I
taxpayer
understand
dollars
that.
to be used.
I do understand that, and my suggestion was that there are houses that are told they're, no good. And if we have there's a little area for children to play down there already and stuff like that. If there is something that we can do to purchase 4 or 5 houses that are in a row that we can add on to something and do something, what I'm saying is, please look into it. Don't just look into this field of dreams and let it go.
No,
That's a field of dreams to other people, their homes.
well,
okay?
that's the whole point, and that's not what's going to happen. There's dedicated part for recreation.
Right.
Which, okay.
No,
but-
I
but
do
let
understand
me go
it all.
further. Plus, we have the township engineering. People, right now, I think there's 4 and 5 residents that applied for acquisition. 9 that are on the fence, and so far nobody else has come forward. We're waiting, and once they decide, we've contacted FEMA as well. Once they decide they do or they don't, I think we have to apply on their behalf to get FEMA dollars, 75%, which is what we'll do. And then the 25% will either be subsidized by the county, but we have to wait to see what the county program is, and or the township. So, just so you know, we've looked into it. We've met with residents, and we asked them, there's 3 options you have. Which option you want us to, to help you out with? And that's what we've done. And so far, like I said, and I spoke to the township engineer today, between 4 and 5 are very interested in acquisition. But it becomes a decision on the homeowner because they got to decide how much equity they have in the property. Is it going to be a total loss? And these are the things that we've been, negotiating with them. I mean, of course, Pat, we're going to help them out if we can, but they have to want us to apply on their behalf. And
Well, what I'm saying also is I hope that the town.
my point
feels
is this:
fair
the
of
field of
reaching out to
dreams, the field of dreams, and acquisition of properties are 2 separate issues. And the field of dreams will be open space dollars for recreation, and that if we decide to do acquisition, then there's the other part we can probably dedicate it. But like the attorney said, we have to have a public need for it. And
Well, I think there is a public need myself. I think a lot of people feel there is a public need. It's just not me.
No, there is a public need, but the point is this:
You can hear people all over.
there's also a process. We're going
No,
to,
I understand
of course,
that
we're going to
too.
go through FEMA first. So
But
just
I
so
don't
you know,
understand why we have to go to FEMA, to the county, and then to the town. Can't we just go FEMA, town?
we could do that too.
Okay.
But
I just,
if
try
the
not to
county is willing
stretch
to
it
give
out.
tax dollars, open space dollars to the township, I'm going to take it. Yeah, it's our dollars anyway that the county has.
Well,
so
it's all our dollars,
We pay the
right.
most into the open space trust fund for the county, so of course I would take that before we use our own funds.
Okay.
So I just want to let
just-
you know,
right.
we've been working on it.
All right, that's because I haven't heard that it's been being worked on since I've been mentioning this for over a month, and
Right.
nobody's actually said anything about it, so thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Good evening again, and Merry Christmas. Roy Messmer, 10 Drumlin Drive. Garden Jiff last week. Not only did I, what's that?
Garden State.
Garden State. Thank you for correcting me. Not only did I like what I heard last week from Mr. Miller and his associates, I more importantly have a good feeling about the Garden State Jiff. However, I do have two comments. This council, with the exception of Zon Cicero, asked nothing. If anything in the future comes about, and I'm not any smarter than anybody in this room, please pick up the phone. You all know how to reach me. I'm not saying about something just with insurance, but anything. I can give you some insight, I'm sure. Two, the administration should have available the certified financial statements. John Cicero asked one question, what is their reserve? But what certified statements would have indicated in a footnote what monies possibly would be lost from those reserves with pending lawsuits. Mike DePiero, I take it very personally what you'd said last week. You haven't said much up there this year, though, but you did say this. And you looked right at me. I was sitting right there. You have the goal to make the statement that 3 years ago you went with Jiff because it was a 3-year contract. The public should know it was not a 3-year contract. What it was, with same fees, there was an increase every year. And as you all know, and if I have to start next year, and each time I'll come in here and I'll take a couple minutes, I'll read a section of Matthew Boxer's statement, because what was done 3 years ago broke the law. We do have a Faulkner Act. Back to the county.
Did
Could
we
you
have
go
a
back to
3-year
the-
contract or not?
I said yes, but it wasn't. But the public's misunderstanding that it was a set fee. There was an increase every year, I said.
But we had a 3-year contract. We
But-
knew what the increases were going to be.
No, you did not.
Travelers insurance was
No.
a 1-year
No,
contract.
the mayor just answered the question. You did not have. Back to Garden State Jiff. Please show the administrators of the Jiff, Jasmine, this article about the library, because I'll tell you something. Even Mayor Letts was quite embarrassed that it was on her watch that nobody thought about putting in a generator and a sump pump system. But nobody can see everything. One person, which we do have a team here. We have property managers. We had the contractor at that place that we put a lot of money into. I really do mean that, because I think all of our facilities we should look at, make sure we have for proper flooding, because this past year's flood, I'm sure it's not an anomaly. Things are changing in our environment. So what I'm saying again is that Garden State asked them to do a good property review, because remember, we are self-insured. That would be back money to us. Review the last 10 years' lawsuits. Review the SOPs of the town, that's standing operating procedures, employee manual, including the police departments, and possibly, something probably nobody's even thought of, a seminar for the public. David Miller, I think it was David Miller, Mr. Miller, could put it on and his associates. Number two, council. Give the taxpayers their money's worth. This is a council meeting, not the mayor's meeting. Number three, Joe Plesha. I had put in the Oprah request, and on the second request, I got the amount. What I would like to know tonight, or a letter tomorrow, is how was this $240.30 determined? Sounds quite low to me, based on the facts that I have, how long that car was being used. Also, I'd like to have a letter from the administration. Has there been a note put in his personnel file under civil service regulations? As to Duckworth.
Mr. Mesmer, let me interject right there.
Oh, stop the clock.
I'm instructing administration
Okay,
and council
stop the clock.
not to answer any questions regarding any personnel matter.
Well, they're administration
on
questions
any
anyway.
employees, yeah.
Well, so you're going to tell them not to answer me how the $240.30 was?
I'm instructing them not to address personnel matters in public with you. That is
Oh.
my instruction.
I didn't hear what you just said, but I'll get it on tape. As to the Duckworth situation, I said it last week because I do tell things like it is. This does not happen on Mayor Barbario's watch. However, this should not have happened. The prior administration was sleeping at the switch. And what I'm saying to you, Mayor, because you did say right after the week after you were elected, your first priority was this occupancy stuff in town, both apartments and single-family homes, that you review that case very closely, because I can tell you something, the people at Glacier Hills are not happy, and prepare the proper dot the I's, cross the T's on the SOPs so this does not happen again. Thank you. Do I have any time left?
14 seconds.
I'll give it to you. Put it on pass.
Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing no one come forward, I close the public portion. Consent agenda, Mr. Stanton.
All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine, non-controversial by the Township Council, be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda, considered in its normal sequence on the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second. Mr. Cesaro.
Mr. Ferrara beat me.
Motion by Mr. Stanton, second by Mr. Farrar. Roll call, please.
Beat me.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cesaro?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Council President DePiero?
Yes. And now we have two potential add-ons. Mr. Creevy, make a motion, first of all, to add the two items on.
Make a motion to add on to.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. Cesaro. Roll call, please.
And
This is to do the add-on.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cesaro?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Council President DePiero?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Creevy can offer the first one.
Resolution, whereas NJSA 40A:4-87 provides that the Director of the Division of Local Government Services may approve the insertion of any special item of revenue in the budget of any municipality when such item shall have been made available by law and the amount thereof was not determined at the time of the adoption of the budget. And whereas said director may also approve the insertion of any item of appropriation for equal amount. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills hereby requests the Director of the Division of Local Government Services to approve the insertion of an item of revenue in the current fund budget of the year 2011 in the sum of $5,000, which item is now available as revenue from State of New Jersey, Section 410, Alcohol, Traffic Safety, and Drunk Driving Prevention, Incentive Grants, CFDA 20.601. Be it further resolved that a like sum of $5,000 and the same is hereby appropriated in the current fund budget under the caption of State of New Jersey, Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over, 2011, year-end statewide crackdown.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. Cesaro. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cesaro?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes. And the second?
Whereas NJSA 40A:4-87 provides that the Director of the Division of Local Government Services may approve the insertion of any special item of revenue in the budget of any municipality when such item shall have been made available by law and the amount thereof was not determined at the time of the adoption of the budget. And whereas said Director may also approve the insertion of any item of appropriation for equal amount. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills hereby requests the Director of the Division of Local Government Services to approve the insertion of an item of revenue in the current fund budget of the year 2011 in the sum of $8,000, which item is now available as revenue from State of New Jersey, Division of Highway Safety, Section 402, State and Community Highway Safety, CFDA 20.600. Be it further resolved that a like sum of $8,000 and the same is hereby appropriated excuse me, in the current fund budget under the caption of State of New Jersey, Division of Highway Traffic Safety, Pedestrian Safety Program, FY 2012.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. Cesaro. Roll call, please.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. Cesaro?
Yes.
Mr. Farrar?
Yes.
Mr. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
I make a motion
Well, and
to...
that, well, I think our township attorney wants to say a few words first about our going into closed session. No?
Yes, I am proposing that you consider going into closed session to discuss contract negotiations, in particular discussions that the mayor and I have had with the Board of Education in closed session regarding the Field of Dreams.
Okay. Thank you.
Make a motion to adjourn into closed session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry, who seconded it?
Mr. Karifi.
Second, Mr. Karifi.
Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Farrar.
Yes.
Mr. Stanton.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the Township Council wishes to discuss attorney-client privilege, and whereas minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving the confidentiality of the above no longer requires confidentiality, the minutes can be made public. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Township Council of Township Parsippany-Troy Hills that the public be excluded from this meeting. If I don't... Wait for a second.
Second?
Okay. Motion by Mr. Cicero, second by Mr. Karifi. Roll call to go into closed session.
Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Farrar.
Yes.
Mr. Stanton.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes. For those of you who are leaving, have a
If I don't see
Merry
anyone,
Christmas,
yep.
Happy and
Have a
Healthy
Merry
New Year.
Christmas.
Happy holidays, all.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. We might, yeah.
I don't have to learn how to do the phone. You're not going to be forever.
Where's Vinny?
Okay.
Where'd he go?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to reconvene
Motion to come back
the
into open session.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cicero, second by Mr. Stanton. Roll call, please.
Mr. Karifi.
Yes.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Farrar.
Yes.
Mr. Stanton.
Yes.
Mr. DePiero.
Yes. And now we do have one action item to take care of. Mr. Inglesino, would you,
Yes, Mr. Council President, the resolution to go into closed session referenced items of attorney-client privilege. There was one item that frankly had slipped my mind that Jasmine reminded me of in addition to the turf fields, and that was the appointment of special counsel, legal counsel, to the town in connection with the Mossberg trial. That trial is scheduled to take place in March of next year, and Mr. Mossberg's lawyer, Mr. Goldstein, who's a former U.S. attorney and a very well-respected and seasoned criminal lawyer, has been calling my office and is attempting to interview various former and current township employees, public officials, etc., in connection with that trial. Criminal law is not my expertise, particularly in these kinds of matters, and so I'm recommending that the town hire special counsel to assist it with those kinds of inquiries. I recommended Mr. Mark Ruffalo, Esquire. Mr. Ruffalo was a former partner of mine who was at the firm of Stern and Kilcullen, which is a law firm that I was previously an income partner in. Mr. Ruffalo is very, very well qualified for this matter. He spent over 20 years in the U.S. Attorney's Office. He is a seasoned assistant United States attorney, has tried many, many cases in his day. I believe he was also the head of the U.S. Attorney's Task Force on racketeering. Very seasoned trial lawyer and very, very well qualified to represent the town's interest in this regard. It is envisioned that Mr. Ruffalo will be serving as sort of a counselor to me and to my office. We will do the laboring, but we will consult with him regarding matters pertaining to the Mossberg trial. So that's that is a resolution that is before you for consideration.
And John, it'll be, Mr. Inglesino, it'll be kind of like a as-needed basis, correct?
Would be on an as-needed basis, that is correct.
Okay. Council President, may I?
Mr. Cicero?
All right, everyone, take a shot at this. My last one for the year. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills authorizing the award of a contract for professional services, whereas the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills has a need to retain special legal counsel pursuant to Section 4-6 of the Township Administrative Code to serve as special legal counsel, and whereas the mayor hereby appoints Mark W. Ruffalo, Esquire, of the firm of Stern and Kilcullen, LLC, whose office is located at 75 Livingston Avenue, Roseland, New Jersey, 07068, as special counsel in the matter of United States versus Edward J. Mossberg, docket number 3:08-CR-00678-FLW, and whereas Mark W. Ruffalo, Esquire, shall complete a business entity disclosure certification at least 10 days prior to the execution of the contract for professional services, in which certification provides that no contributions have been made that would bar the award of this contract pursuant to Public Law 2004, Chapter 19, and further that no reportable contributions to municipal, political, or candidate committees of the elected official of the township will be made through the term of the contract, and whereas the funds are available for this purpose, and whereas the term of this contract shall be from December 1st, 2011 through November 30th, 2012, whereas the Chief Financial Officer of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills has certified in writing that funds are available for these services. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey as follows. 1. The Township Council hereby confirms the mayor's appointment of and authorizes the 2010 professional services agreement with Mark W. Ruffalo, Esquire, of the firm of Stern and Kilcullen, LLC, whose office is located at 75 Livingston Avenue, Roseland, New Jersey, 07068, as special legal counsel in connection with the above referenced matter. 2. The Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills hereby awards a professional services contract to and authorizes the mayor and township clerk to execute such contract with Mark W. Ruffalo, Esquire, of the firm of Stern and Kilcullen, LLC, whose office is located at 75 Livingston Avenue, Roseland, New Jersey, 07068, as special legal counsel in connection with the above referenced matter no sooner than 10 days following the submission of a business entity disclosure certification. 3. The determination of value shall be placed on file with this resolution. 4. This contract is exempt from competitive bidding as a professional service pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-5 1A of the